Okay. Welcome back to High Tales with the Lit Sisters. We are the Lit Sisters.
We are.
We are. There are no other Lit Sister. We should trademark this.
TM. Can you say that without it actually being trademarked? Don't sue me.
The trade... Wait, okay. Let's walk that back for a second. So, trademark is something that like certifies and like establishes you.
Yeah.
It's not a person.
No, I know.
So you
What,
said
you think I was Michael Scott?
Trademark can't sue you.
I was telling our followers, don't sue me.
Okay.
Don't get it, and then send me whatever. You think I was Michael Scott? Like, I declare trademark.
No, I thought you were like, whatever trademark company, don't sue us because we haven't trademarked our name yet.
No.
Or because I said the word trademark.
The people who trademark it and I use it.
Okay.
What's a write-off, David? Who writes it off? The write-off people. The trademark people.
Okay.
There's an office, and they might be one of our listeners, and they might be like, that's illegal.
Well, it's not
Arrest her.
illegal because nobody's trademarked it. It's more of somebody might take advantage of us.
No,
and
but
trademark.
I said Hightails Lit Sisters TM. Does that mean I'm
That just means you
falsely...
said two letters after your sentence.
I could just be like, it stands for Tarn Medley. No, Tarn.
No, it's just two random letters. That's it. That's all you have to say.
Stop trying to make fetch happen. It's just something I say.
Oh, let's bring fetch. Let's make fetch happen.
Fetch is never gonna happen.
What does fetch mean again? Is it
we
like
don't know.
beta?
We don't know.
It's like bet. It's like bet.
Bet.
Fetch.
Was there a knock at the door?
No, that was them closing the door across the house.
Oh.
That's how these houses were built in 1929.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, no, that just means that this door wasn't actually supposed to be here. And it was put in after the fact.
Oh. Is that a load-bearing wall?
It is. It used to be the external part of the house. This is an add-on from the 80s. This and upstairs.
Oh, so they used to have like a little side yard, basically.
Yeah, so it was this side, and backyard. And then in 2015 is when they did that whole side.
It does not look like that from the front, that it was like added on to.
No, they did a really good job.
Looks added on to.
Yeah, your house has the
let's just add this Lego house to the back.
Yeah.
And now let's add this Lego house to the top.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's beautiful.
I think it's cool. Derek hates it.
I like that. So I never cared, like, because I remember when you moved into your house, you were like, I like that nobody's house looks like this. I like the character of the fact that it's not cookie cutter.
It's a little weird.
And when you walk down the street, you're like, okay, the same contractor did these 6 houses. Like, you can see it, right?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I would buy a house like that and live in one of them.
Pretty.
Yeah.
If we could afford to move into a brand new house in our neighborhood, we totally would.
But I couldn't. So I got that house, and I'm like, I appreciate it, though. That's fine.
But now being in this house, I'm totally like, I love the character.
Yeah.
Because you look at different, like, the molding and stuff. I'm like, I would have never done that.
Right.
I would think, like, if I was building my own house, I would not think to put any. I'd be like, no, that's the first thing that goes, so we can save expense. I'm do.
Yeah.
And I would live in a cardboard box.
Yes.
It would legitimately not have nothing.
Yes.
So this, I love the character.
It kind of makes you venture out in your furniture a little bit too, because you have to match the character of the home.
Yeah.
Which I think you would have picked different furniture
very,
in a different home
very
as well.
beige.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, I mean, I'm still
your
very,
decorating
very
style
beige.
in like the city and stuff like that was very. Pick the basic safe one.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I wouldn't even accessorize that basic safe one.
I mean, you kind of did, but with the other basic safe shit that was next to it on the display.
Yes. But I couldn't afford Pottery Barn, so it was really cheeky.
I mean, it wasn't bad. It was just
safe.
Yeah.
I'm still safe with
it's
my
like,
decorating.
Put couch here. It looks like this. Put shelf there. Minecraft. You're very straight lines, no curves, no embellishments.
That's right. I actually, you're right. I did lean my style more traditional to fit this house.
Yeah, you have like still a straight line couch, but it's got the tufts.
Yeah.
In it. You have different texture in your pillows.
I brought in industrialization and stuff like that to counteract the like super foo-foo.
Yes.
Like,
Yes. Designs on like even like the front of cabinets and your entryway and stuff like that. Like you wouldn't have done that. I feel like that before. Which again, it'd be cool to live in like a more modern house too.
Maybe someday. Yeah.
But like I appreciate what it is right now. So it works.
Yeah.
All right. We literally introduced and then started not talking about the book.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Put a pin in it.
We'll put a pin in that.
We'll circle back around.
We will because we're high. Okay, so where we left off. Do you remember?
General Mom gave her Lyra's journal.
Yep.
And told them there's something wrong with their wards, which she didn't know. They know there's something wrong. And told Mira and her to go open up the wyvern back at wherever they're at or one of the posts or wherever they are, and she'll see that they're different.
Okay.
And they did. They went back, opened them up, and it wasn't just stones. It was like vibrating onyx pieces, and them clinking together kind of woke up a wyvern, and Violet had to like slam it with lightning. So their wards were going to fail for sure.
Yeah. So they put up a fake ward. It lasted long enough for them to stop a wyvern attack of like 14 venin. And they went to the general meeting and said, basically, F you, you've ignored us this whole time. We've got our own dragons to protect. You're on your own for this battle that you foresee. And they tested the wyvern, and the wyvern, their ward is silly. So Violet and Xaden are fighting. Through all of this, she found out right before the attack, he is keeping even more secrets, which annoys the F out of me because this whole time I've been on team Xaden be transparent.
Okay. This isn't a good secret. He literally would be put to death. And I don't think he was never going to necessarily tell her, but I think it's one of those things that like literally nobody knows. It's not like a secret he's like keeping from her. It's a self-preservation just thing.
Agreed. Yeah. And her self-preservation thing, I'm saying...
We're not going to fight about this. She's not even that mad, okay? She's worried.
I get the second signet had to be a secret. For me, though, Xaden is, I'm always waiting for the other shoe to drop. No matter what, you're keeping something from me.
Okay, his dad was executed for leading a revolution.
Yeah.
He had to make a deal as a child for the lives of 107 other people.
Yeah.
The youngest being 6, Marissa.
Okay.
Marissa.
I didn't say he was a bad guy.
I'm just saying.
I'm saying trust. Here, let me give you the analogy I've given my daughter multiple times. Every time you earn trust, you get 1 marble in the jar, right? But the first time you lie or withhold, it's not one of those marbles that you've built over time goes out. The whole jar flips over.
I don't think it's a trust thing though. My thing is I honestly think like with his mom, like that was the last one. He didn't say all of that. I would have felt if I was the person, that's your mom's story to tell.
Uh-huh.
That's not my story to tell because I don't want to influence you one way or the other that she's awful or she's not or what. I don't know. I just kind of feel like I didn't think that was a big one. And for him to wait for her, he knew she knew. He knew she already knew. So why is it on him to have to necessarily bring it up? She wasn't bringing it up for a reason. So to me, this last one, he was honestly being respectful. She didn't want to talk about it. If she wanted to talk about it, she would talk about it. And that's what he got out of her at the end there. That like, you need to be asking yourself why you haven't been challenging me. Because for us to work, you got to be all the way truthful with yourself so we can actually talk it out. And she wasn't. She was allowing him to breeze over it a little bit.
Agree to disagree, which I know you hate that phrase.
Oh, my God.
Okay, so Violet and Xaden are fighting. She's kind of ignoring him. He's like, we're going to the gym and we're working this out.
Yeah.
Or they meet at the gym.
I don't
know.
think she was actually trying to ignore him either.
No, but she didn't want to talk about it.
Listen, there was a natural revolution going on,
Uh-huh.
and they conveniently could ignore each other for a little bit.
Perfect.
But she wasn't really going out of her way. You could just tell it was a little different this time, is my point.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think? Or no?
But she then goes and is like, why are we doing this here? I don't want to talk. And he's like, new rule. We're not fighting in the bedroom anymore.
Yeah.
So either we get Taryn and Seagal to fly us somewhere secluded, or we kick each other's ass and talk it out. And you know what they do? They kick each other's asses to talk it out. So
I'm not gonna lie, if I was fighting with my husband and he tackled me to the ground to like tell me in my face something, like I thought it was hot when I read it, but can you imagine something like that happening in real life?
No, that's DV, man.
I would knee you in the balls, husband, if you're listening to this, which you're not probably, but I would knee you in the balls and then I would call the police.
Well, this is my space. If we're in an argument and you touch me in anger, nope.
You gone.
Nope.
I'm
Don't
sorry.
think so.
Bye.
Even if you're angry swatting at like a fly
and
it slaps me in the face, no, you're done. Should have known where I was.
Literally part
kidding.
of it ends with us.
Oh, is he trying to swat a fly and smacks her in the face?
No, he like reaches into the oven for something and like burns his hand, and cuts his hand. I don't know, something. He's hurting himself, and she goes to grab something, and he kind of flings back and hits her. And in her initial memory, it seems very obviously like an accident. And he's like, are you okay? And then when she, like, all these things are compounding on top of each other, she remembers it back. And it's like, no, he turned and hit her.
Yeah.
And she was making excuses. No, he turned and pushed.
So I'm glad that you brought that up, because I think that analogy works really well with how you're making up so many excuses for him lying to her.
Oh, my God.
No, I'm just kidding.
I think Violet's a little fucking dramatic.
I think you're...
I shouldn't say that, because we just read Feyre and Nesta are both way more dramatic than Violet.
No, Violet's
so with
rock
me
solid,
saying
man.
that, I love Violet as a character. I hate Marissa's stance on this. I'm actually less mad at Violet or annoyed with her than I am with how hard you're writing the paint for her, like, dragging this on way too long. Way too long.
So this
Nesta style long.
This is how my brain works.
This is how my brain works.
You're on my list. Okay, so he tackles her.
Yes.
In vain.
I do like how she's like, what? Since when do we not fight in our room? And he's like, since now. I made the rule. You can make a rule. What rule do you want to make?
Start telling me
That's
the
what
truth.
we do now. We make rules. I made one. Your turn.
She's like, no more secrets. He said, done. No more making me ask. So like what he was doing was basically saying, I'm an open book, but she has to strategically ask the question in the right way. So it's still like
Which
a
I can
maze
understand.
of
That's really
her trying to
annoying.
figure it out.
Yeah, it feels like a manipulation game.
Well, and the fact that he's like, well, you're smart enough to figure it out. It's like, F you.
I get it.
You shouldn't be my homework assignment.
I get it.
You should be an open book.
So she said, no more. And he said, done.
Done.
She's like, I'm serious. And he's like, me too.
I'm in it.
So now can we never fucking talk about it again?
Yeah.
I swear to God, Rebecca Yarros, if this shit continues in Onyx Storm, I'm still going to read all the books. I'm still going to read it, and I'm still going to talk about it, let's be honest, but still.
It will still happen until he stops lying.
He's not lying anymore. He just said he's not.
Okay,
and he's not lying to begin with. He never lied.
But then she's like, okay, let's lighten the topic a little bit. Tell me about your mom. I've never heard of her. And we find out that it was like a marriage contract that as soon as he had an heir that was 10 years old, she was free. Really interested to hear more about that.
Yeah.
So she's like, okay, well, that's not the lighthearted conversation I was hoping to hear. Let's change this up. So she asks about like when his signet manifested. His second signet, which is being intrinsic, which means part of like reading mind, where he can read intention in addition to his shadow wielding.
Yeah.
And so he said it came to life about 2 months after his shadows came. He like held it together until he could go to Seagal and tell Seagal. And Seagal said, don't tell anyone.
Yeah.
This is just between you and me. And as we remember from the last episode, Taryn didn't even know. Right. So Seagal didn't even tell her mate.
Yeah.
So that's how tight it is. That's, again, I'm giving you shit, but I agree with you. That's why this was an easier fight, because it was only him and Seagal, and she said, don't tell anybody.
Right.
She didn't even tell her mate. So I can't expect to tell my girlfriend.
True.
Which they haven't even had the girlfriend-boyfriend conversation.
They really have it. Really have it. And it is kind of funny to hear you say, like, girlfriend, because that is essentially what it is.
It is, but
it does sound silly.
But it doesn't even get there.
But it's so much more than that.
She was like, why didn't anybody ask questions or anything like that? So we find out that, they thought because his power of shadows was so strong that maybe it just didn't happen.
Yeah, they just kind of quit bugging him about it.
Yeah.
Because it was much,
And it did help that he said it wasn't written down in the role that was his grandfather.
Yeah.
It was like a uncle once removed or something like that. A great uncle.
Which we don't really find out. Do we find out why they didn't know it was his grandfather?
Mm-mm.
So is that part of the mom story too that we need to know or something?
The system of record. I don't know. But maybe we'll find more about that.
I thought those are little tiny things that there's no other mention of it anywhere else, but it seems too specific.
Yeah.
Like, why would he even say that if it didn't mean something?
Yeah. I'm really interested to know more about that.
Yes. Agreed. So at this point, Violet, they're doing battle brief and all of that. Violet has been imbuing crystals, and every second third year has their own, like, little lightning crystal. Or conduit thing. Is that what it was?
Which is exactly what I love about what the Griffins did. So I'm glad that, like, she switched off.
The flyers.
Yeah.
I thought that too. That's why I wanted to mention it, because it was like, she was like, that's a brilliant idea. Yeah. And then they did it.
Why are we trying to kill each other? We can help each other live.
Here's another thing. If it's such a brilliant fucking idea and she just starts to do it, why does everyone not have dragon scale armor yet?
Mira told her boss about it, and they're looking into it. Remember right before the attack? So, but I mean, they're not going very far, obviously, or fast.
I just would think that would be something like, they're making all these weapons and doing all that.
I mean,
why wouldn't they have thought of that?
Are leaving scales all over the place, and we're losing valuable material.
Even for, like, infantry and the people on the ground, even. Like, you can protect people from these. I guess you can't protect them from everything with the venom. Either way, anyways.
Ooh, why didn't they do dragon scales on the saddle?
Why would they need to?
Because the whole thing with the saddle of why leather wasn't good to be used on the saddle was because if it got on fire,
the saddle would fall off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. I don't know.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, we can break down their manufacturing flaws
Sorry,
in a whole other episode.
Again, I'm high.
We're starting off great. Totally. Okay, moving on. In Battle Brief, they have a new map, and it's about 90% accurate, they said, based on everything, all the patrols that were flying and everything like that. What's interesting is they've left the last town that the Venom overtook, and everywhere south, including the Turish border, and they're moving north. So it very much looks like they're prepping for the battle that Melgreen foresaw. Like, they're going towards Samara. Violet says Brennan is standing there and looks like guilty, and she's kind of like, good. I'm kind of happy about that. You should feel guilty. You left our mom. Numerous writers are like, I have family in Navarre still, and people are kind of doing the little racist crap. In all honesty, it's like, well, they should have just, or ableist, I guess I should say, they should have just left. And it's like, not everyone has the freaking means to just pack everything up and leave, and going back and forth. Brennan then turns the conversation, which I think is pretty genius, right? I think he knows what he's doing right now. And he asks all of them, if you were Melgreen, what would you be doing right now? And Ree's like, I'd be bolstering the wards. Someone else is like, so he has to choose between arming everybody or keeping the power supply. And it's like,
pretty much.
So spreading out those daggers lessens the efficiency of the power of those wards. So Brendan's like, what would you do, Violet? And she was like, besides not killing innocent citizens, not leaving them to die, and not fighting and protecting them. What would I really do? I would pull every dagger from the outpost and reinforce and boost the power supply at the border, essentially, right?
Yeah.
Where it's needed the most. Wyvern and Venom are powerless once they pass those wards. And Brennan's like, exactly. Like, looking at her like, keep going. Keep going. This is where I'm coming from. Don't be pissed at me. They want, like, if Samara falls, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
The wards, someone was like, the wards will fail and the breeding ground, the veil. No. What would happen, Violet? And Violet's like, they would just fall back to their natural distance, which is what we have right now, which is like a 3 to 4 hour flight from Basgiath.
Yeah.
So their hatching grounds are not in jeopardy.
Yeah.
Melgren was bluffing. He was banking on them not knowing enough about the wards and how they work to feel guilted in to defending them and changing that battle that he saw. Violet sits there and is looking, and she's like, how old is this information? You can already tell her mind is completely different and down a whole different path, right?
Her brain just went.
Brennan's like, see, don't be mad at me, sis. And she's like, wait a minute, what? How old is this information? And they're like, 3 days. That was confirmed this morning. So they've been sitting there waiting, the Venom and the Wyvern, waiting to attack on solstice. And they've already been there for 3 days. So she starts packing up her stuff, and everyone's like, what's going on? And she's like, I got to get to Xaden. Samara's not the target.
Yeah.
We got to go. So they get up. Everyone follows. I thought it was interesting that Kat's like, is anybody going to tell me why we just left battle brief? And all the instructors are yelling at us. And I think it was Sawyer was like, Violet's got that look in her eye.
She does this.
Kat's like, what? And Ree's like, we just, have learned to roll with it. It usually means something big's going on. So just walk. Just
Which
go.
is funny. Brennan said something very, very similar the last time she stormed out of a room.
That was the determined look.
Yes.
Yeah, like you're going to, I saw you for 12 hours. So she finds Xaden and tells him it's not Samara, because why would they have been sitting there for 3 days to wait to attack in 2 days on solstice? Wyvern can't fly past the wards anyway, so it doesn't matter if they're at Samara or not. They're not waiting for anything at Samara. They're waiting for all the wards to fail. Why would all the wards fail? Because their target is Basgiath, and Melgreen wouldn't see it if they were there.
Yep.
Because there's more than 3 people with a relic.
Yep.
So that's where the real fight is, and he wouldn't know.
Yep.
So they all sit there and they're debating on, should we go? Should we not go? They wouldn't save us. They've done this. And very valid points going back and forth. Some people are like, well, there's some people that are there just trying to save humanity, essentially, that didn't make this choice.
And this sense of urgency here is also the fact that Melgreen doesn't know.
Yeah.
So he is stacking the Samara border.
Yes.
And so there is most likely nobody at Basgiath.
Yes.
But minimum people to teach children.
Very minimal.
And right now they have half the amount of children to teach.
Exactly. And, I mean, we don't know how much of the actual riders, like the lieutenants and things like that, left. We know Mira did, and we know they met another war. But there's also their actual army is down a considerable amount as well.
Yeah.
So Xaden and Violet start kind of talking mind to mind about it. And he's kind of like, what do you want to do? Like, I'm where you are.
Yeah.
What do you want to do?
I'm with you, babe.
And she agrees with all of them. They never would save them.
Yeah.
They, in fact, executed all of their parents.
Yep.
Right? But we have to. If we don't go, we're just as bad as them.
Yeah.
This was very much a Hunger Games moment with Snow. And
yes.
Yeah. Where it's like you're just trading one monster for another.
Yeah.
If are we going to be that monster, or are we going to be the change? What are we fighting for?
What is that quote where it wasn't in this book where it was like, you should kill them, and then like they would do it to me, but that says more about their character than mine.
Oh, that was this. That was the one dude at the threshing.
Yeah. Or Orin.
No, Orin lived. Oh, it was with Orin.
Yeah.
Yes.
You should kill him, Silver One. And she said, no.
I'm better than him.
Yeah.
Okay, so Andarna is a little pissed that the long flight back to Basgiath, she has to wear her harness. And she's like, I'm a big kid now. And Violet's like, you are. Yes. You are a big kid.
I'm a big kid and I'm wearing a harness.
Yeah. She's like, I understand. She had a very mom moment. Yeah. And I, as a mom of a child with special needs, loved the disability nod here.
Yeah.
And that it doesn't mean you're any less of a badass dragon. But I don't want to wear a saddle, but it's what I need to do to fly. And it is what it is. And that's what we do. And I thought, like, she was setting boundaries. And I find it interesting. they always talk about, oh, I addressed a dragon, let alone my dragon that way or whatever. She tells Andarna and Taryn what to do a lot of the time. Like talks to them as an equal, and they accept it as an equal. Like sometimes Andarna's like, you don't tell me what to do, and she's like, but da da da. Or Tarn comes in and is like, but you listen. She has every right to be concerned for you.
Yeah.
Like I find that interesting because I don't think other people have that relationship with their dragon.
No.
Yeah. So Andarna's a little miffed about it. Andarna says dragons don't answer to humans, and Tarn's like, but they listen to their elders.
Yeah.
And I'm a bigger black dragon last time I checked.
Boom.
And she's like, never mind. It doesn't matter.
I mean, he's basically her foster dad anyway.
True. But they're black dragons, right? So they're part of the same den, essentially. And Darna says, maybe I'll start my own den. Maybe I'll lead my own den and, da-da-da-da-da. Oh, my notes literally say no fear teenager. It actually says no feet because I have a typo, but no fear teenager.
So I would also say that at least Andarna gets to go because Kat and Marin are kind of peeved that they aren't allowed. Which it makes sense because they don't have any power within the wards. But they're like, dude, we don't have any power in a lot of places and we're still badass.
Yeah, it does make them a target, which they both understand. And Violet tells them, and Kat's like, I know.
Yeah, but Marin actually gives Violet a small crossbow. And I love how whenever anybody gifts her things, they're like, oh, I'm doing this because you suck at this other weapon. Like when Xaden gave her the daggers, he was like, you're not strong enough for a sword. Like, you need to stop with that.
It wasn't even a sword. You're not strong enough for those big daggers.
Yeah, you need little daggers.
Here's dainty daggers.
But so she gets another free weapon. It
was a very nice, friendship thing there.
Yes, and so now she's got a small crossbow because she can't handle a long bow. But Marin actually imbued the arrowheads, so they blow up.
Yeah. I don't think she imbued them. Yeah. The Marasite is what blows up. What they're made of blows up. Sorry, this probably doesn't even matter. Okay. The Marasite blows up, and she was imbuing a lot of Marasite to, the Marasite's like a charcoal. Uh-huh. And then imbued with her lightning power, it blows up on impact or something like that. That's what I got from it.
That's amazing. That's better than me. I just said, this rock now blows up. That's what my brain said when I read it.
I only know because they said she was imbuing,
I did not know you knew this much about imbuing.
No, she handed them the weapons when she said, hey, we're going to put up the wards at Orisha.
Yeah.
And she's like, they were Marasite arrows that's what she imbued. So basically, I think Marin just had it made into a smaller handheld crossbow type thing. That's more like a gun. That's the only reason I know. That's what I'm saying. Anyways, moving on.
No, that's very cool. I did not know that much about imbuing. I just said rock that blows up in my head.
Oh, I'm a geologist. No, I'm an engineer. I don't even know what skill it is.
Yeah, I don't even know what profession would be able to do that. Okay, but
I'm Oppenheimer. No.
So Xaden goes to the assembly and says, okay, I know we all, minus me because you guys voted against me, said we're not going to go help Navarre. But now I have new information. Mm-hmm. And he talks to them and tries to get them to come.
Yeah.
And they all are like, no.
The hatching grounds are actually in jeopardy here, guys.
And they're like, there's no way anybody can take down the wards. Yeah. This is probably a trap.
Yeah.
We're not going. And Brennan is actually one of the leaders in that, saying, no, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
They wouldn't do it for us. We have our own hatching grounds now to protect.
Well, and the way he does it, Xaden's like, they're not going to budge. And Brennan's like, as he walks up, he's like, yeah, they think it's a bad idea. And you're stupid for taking all these cadets with you.
Yeah.
You're just going to get them all killed.
Yeah. And Violet really tries to get Brennan to come. But he says their mom had no problem sending the three of them to their deaths. So he doesn't care if she dies.
Yeah. I'm a little disappointed in Brennan right now.
So the assembly stays. Xaden was trying to start giving orders, and he is like, okay, so Violet with me, and Rhys stands up and is like, our squad, the Iron Squad, stays together.
Yeah.
And Xaden looks at her and Rhys was like, but you're more than welcome to come with us.
Yeah.
I keep almost calling her Feyre right now for some reason.
Yeah.
And calling him Rhys.
Yeah.
There is very large overlap
Well,
with
yeah,
Reese
it's a
and
fantasy. Fantasy. So, with that being said,
Yeah.
who's your favorite Shadow Daddy so far?
My favorite? Oh, Reese, for sure.
I think I like Xaden better.
Ooh. No, I'm 100% Reese. Why don't you like Reese?
I do. I do like him.
Yeah.
But remember I said before, he's kind of a pretty boy.
Well,
I
that
kind of
matches
liked,
me.
Yeah, I kind of liked Cassian better. I like a little rough.
Yeah.
Xaden's rough Reese.
Yeah, and I think Xaden is very great.
So
okay?
when we read Throne of Glass, there's
Yes.
Rune Dannon, who is like lip pierced, eyebrow pierced, like version of Reese. Like a rougher Reese.
So it's not like the look that gets me. It's like emotional part.
Yeah,
so
both.
It's like Xaden is like not emotional enough for like compared to Reese. That's what I like about Reese more.
He does in this book. He does declarations all the time. They're just like
okay.
badass declarations.
Okay, I'm more in the I like
fruitful, the lake light glimmers off of your pupil.
That's not what I'm saying. I don't know. Reese just feels more flowery to me.
Yeah, I think this is like yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if flowery is the way I would describe him.
I don't know how to
Elaine.
explain it to you.
I think it's more. I don't know how to explain it to you.
It's one of those things where it's like Xaden's like one of those that's like you scare me a little bit too.
I like that.
See, I don't like that.
I kind of because I kind of like it because I think I'm a little more like Violet.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, I'd like to see you fucking try.
Yeah.
Try and hurt me.
See, I wouldn't say that. I would say thank you for not hurting me. Okay, we are getting off track.
We are a lot.
Today.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
This editing's going to be harder for you.
It's fine. Okay, so the assembly won't budge. The Iron Squad is staying together. Oh, sorry.
Violet turns to Mira. That's the one part you
Yeah,
meant.
just say it.
Violet turns to Mira and goes, the same goes for you. You can come with us, but we stay together.
Yeah.
I'm flying with my squad today.
Exactly. So they all fly off, and luckily Xaden and Mira just join her and her squad.
Yeah.
Which is so good because they have trained to fight with each other. Like, that's the best thing for them to stay together. The core four.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Mira.
The core four. The Iron Squad should just always stay together.
That's the whole point of the squads, right?
Yeah.
That there's
so
loyalty.
The plan is that Violet is going to go and get their mom and convince her that the wards are in danger. Like, we need to guard the wards. They fly all the way there. Andarna, luckily, gets her little booster. Violet actually is the first to land. And so it's not all open. So not all the dragons can land at once. They have to land one by one. So Violet's the first one. She gets down and a dragon pops up. They're not expecting anybody, obviously. So they're like in shock.
The way it's described, it's because she's the first one to land. So there's like two guards standing there and they're like staring each other down. And Tar takes off and then Seagull lands and then Xaden's there. And then they take off and then Kath lands, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't it Dane next? No, her mom walks up. She's like, Mom, it's the battle's really here. And she's like, what? You're kind of an idiot.
Yeah.
And then Kath goes to land. And she goes, dear God, open the doors before they fuck everything up. Because they're taking all this mortar and stuff like with them. You could just kind of see it like on Threshing, right?
Yeah.
Not Threshing. Parapet, the conscription day or whatever.
Yeah.
How they describe, there's going to have to be more tuck pointing.
Yes. We've got to do this. Violet tells their mom the wards are going to come down. The wards are in danger.
Yeah.
And her mom's like, don't be ridiculous. We are fully staffed here. It's all guarded. And she's looking around and she's like, Mom, the only people around right now are people that don't have the skill set to fight.
Right.
This college is in danger. Yeah. And it's in danger because nobody's here to protect it and somebody's gonna try to take down the wards.
This is why Mel Green didn't see it, because we're here and look at how many of these guys there are. Yeah.
Yeah. So her mom's like, I don't believe you. We won't, like, it's guarded. There's no need to panic. And Dane has landed by that time and stands up and is like, okay, if you're not going to show her, I will. He's like, follow me. And so finally,
my dad showed me. I'll just do it.
I can do it for you. So finally, General Mommy.
Well, Violet turns to her and delivers one of my favorite lines, right? And says, do you want to be the general that saves Basgaiath or the one who loses it to the very cadets who rejected your lies?
Boom.
And her mom just looks at her and is like, black suits you very well, doesn't it?
You look great.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah. So Nolan actually tries to address Violet. Xaden tells him stay away from her, and he will consider letting him live. Because remember, Nolan was there for the whole torture.
Oh, yeah. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, that guy sucks.
Yeah.
We also hear that Garrick's dragon, who we know can sense runes and stuff, is feeling something. Yeah. So like something's going on. So which makes him even more nervous about.
I mean, Violet's even like, well, Basgiath is like built on runes, so maybe that's why. And Taryn's like, no, it's the same that he felt at Resson.
Yeah. They finally get to, the hallway before the wardstone, and the two guards that were there are dead on the ground. So finally, Violet's mom actually starts sprinting with her knife out, like ready to go defend. And so they're all chasing, going there. Yeah. This wardstone is even like bigger than the other one. It is like a darker black. It's got diamond carves with so many runes all over it. And
it's on fire.
So that's what was different.
Yes.
Because when they did it, they just felt the wards go. But now they know like it's flaming.
Right.
So something they didn't make it keep on fire.
Right. And that's what we see right away. Right as they get close to there, Xaden pulls Violet back with his shadows, just as like an orange like tail. I forget a scorpion. It's not a scorpion tail, but like a club tail or something like that. Yeah. Almost takes her out. And it's Bade.
So Jack
Barlow's.
Fucking
Jack Barlow.
God,
every time.
Every time.
General Mom goes to charge. Bade just knocks her aside, and Violet can hear her like crack her head against the floor. So she's like knocked out.
Yeah.
As she walks forward, she sees Jack Barlow on Bade's back. Yeah. And he goes, "You're right in time, Sorengale." So he didn't have an epiphany. He's still an asshole, everybody.
Yep. And he knew she'd come.
So Xaden tries to throw shadows just as Bade opens her mouth, and Riddick shoots right in front of him and like throws up this wall of ice. Once the flames stop, Reed grabs Riddick, and his hands are like blistered and bloody and all disgusting because of the fire against there that he was holding. They run around the wardstone. They see Bade up on her hind legs and has her like top claws up on the wardstone as Jack Barlow slits Bade's throat, his own dragon's throat.
He kills
and
his own dragon.
Blood goes all over the wardstone, spills it out. I have to mention he is doing a whole villain monologue this whole time.
Of course,
but essentially saying he like puts out the wardstone by killing his own dragon. What the actual fuck?
Yes,
I was like, I cannot believe this is happening.
And we killed him already.
We already killed you. Fucking Nolan. This is Nolan's fault. This is Nolan's fault. Violet tries to throw a dagger just before Xaden like pulls all of them in with the shadows, but that humming, that energy.
The wards are down.
It's gone. The wards have fallen. They know. Jack is laughing. Just laughing. And Xaden's like, you're about to join your dragon. You're about to die. Yeah. And he's like, oh, am I? Nolan like lunges forward and he's like, you can make a choice. Choose better. Da 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 da. Or Xaden tells Violet mind to mind that now this is what Nolan's been doing.
Yeah.
He's too weak now to block or shield. He's been mending Jack this whole time. And Violet's like, mending him from what? He's like, Jack turned venom. So he has literally been mending a soul. Trying to mend a soul. Mend venom out of him, I guess. Nolan's screaming, you have a choice. And Jack's like, there is no choice. If there ever was a choice, I made it when I saw her. Back to his old frickin' self,
of
right?
Course.
Like how he's so bitter that the strongest, most powerful dragon decided to bond with little old Violet. Uh-huh. Why do dragons get to choose how our power, our worth, what our worth is and all of that?
Yeah.
He's such a little...
He sounds like Varish, because Varish was always like, is it the person that influences the dragon? I don't let my dragon make decisions.
As we read more, remember what Marisa just said, because I kept thinking that a lot. So it makes me wonder, was Varish venom?
Ooh, well then that means Varish is still alive.
I mean, he might not be venom on different stages. You know what I mean?
No, I know, but if you kill a venom not with a right sword, you may look dead, but you're
maybe
not
he's not
dead.
Then. Or maybe he is alive. That would suck.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Xaden's like grilling him on when he did it, what happened, how is this going on, and Violet realizes it was before their challenge. When he pushed energy and power into her, she felt like she was suffocating, but she didn't know what it was from. So if he's been venom for that long, like how was he able to do that? And Jack's still like laughing on his villain monologue, telling them that they make you think you can't channel within the grounds, but you can. You can take just enough.
Yeah.
Just enough power from the ground, and now we're free. Kept saying we. So there's more of them, is what I kept picking up from this. Now we're free. Xaden grabs Jack at this point by the throat with the shadows, and Jack's just, they're faster than you think. He's coming with a whole herd of green ones. We know about blue and red venom. Now there's green venom as well. Like a whole herd. We don't know shit about that side.
No.
Violet's like, no, we got to keep him alive for questioning. That's when she realized that must be the signet blocking serum, and that's why they made it, was because of this with Jack.
So that way they could tamper his power.
As they're kind of having this talk, Dane is creeping around, and as Jack starts to like drain from the stones, like to show them, because that's where Xaden has them with the shadows, like up against the wall of the where the ward stone is at. Dane gets close enough because he wants to read his memory, and he starts to read his memories, and then Jack grabs him by the arms, grabs Dane by the arms and starts draining him. And Violet is like screaming for Xaden to do something, and Xaden's standing there for a good amount of time. He was like, let me let Dane suffer a little bit. When Dane finally like screams, Xaden gets close enough and just knocks Jack out with the butt of his dagger. Xaden yells to Nolan at this point, I'm assuming you know what the fuck to do with him because you've been doing it since May. So why don't you go do that, Nolan? And he cuts off Jack's writer's patch. It was a very Xaden move, I thought.
Yeah.
But then he's very focused. How many cadets are there? And General Mom answers, there's 119 cadets, 10 leadership. That's it. The rest are at Midland Post and at Samara.
Not very many people.
Dane's like, I saw his memories, but I didn't see enough. Like because he told them he set lures everywhere. So that's what was at Resson, was the lure. To have the wyvern go there. He didn't see all of it though, and he says they're faster than dragons. He's like, we have maybe 10 hours till they're here. And there's no wards. So they gather everybody. Devera is addressing the crowd, right? Everybody that came with them and the 100+ cadets that they have there. There's 1,000 wyvern on the way. Good news, they didn't stop at Samara, so there's no casualties. Bad news, they're going to be here, like, now.
Yeah.
Like, we have 10 hours and that is it. Dane's like, does anybody know how to track or, do tracking runes? Literally nobody does. He's
Boy,
like,
don't we wish we brought all of the people that are very good at this.
All the flyers, right? Because they were much more bigger naturals. Infantry cadets at this point pour into the room. This is all on war at this point. And Dane says they're going to spend the next few hours looking for those tracking runes. Devera then tells them that they're going to remain in their squads and reminds them that wyvern are the distraction. You take down the venom, and then more wyvern fall. Don't get caught up in just taking out the big scary monster. General Mom also gets up. This is very, to me, it was like Independence Day. Like marching to Armageddon here. It's pretty obvious that all the cadets have no idea what they're about to get into. Yeah. Which is about half the force that's there.
Yeah.
Not a good fight to be going into. They're having first years fly out. They're stocking an infirmary. They're prepping. Scribes are evacuating text. That's laughable in itself. General Mom ends with telling them that they're very talented. They're very powerful, but she's not going to lie. They're outnumbered and underpowered. There's going to be 4 times as many of these guys here. But they're Navarian, and they're bound for a purpose, and they're going to defend Dragonkind. So Violet at this point asks Andarna to fly back to Orisha. And we didn't mention that before when they flew in, and she's like, hey, go to the Vale, protect the other Feathertails. They're going to need you. She's like, I'm staying with you. Yeah. And she's like, no, they're going to need you there. And she just kept saying, I will be where I am needed. Same thing. Andarna's like, I'm going to be where I'm needed, and that's with you. Stop. asking me to leave. General Mom starts to do what Xaden was doing. Like, Mira, you're going to go with Violet Squad. Like, she doesn't say Violet Squad. She's much more official than that, obviously. Mira goes, actually, it makes more sense for me to go with you to be able to shield you since I don't need wards anymore, since you're like the last line of defense. And Xaden should go with Violet because it's been proven in battle that their signets like complement each other.
Yep.
So yeah. And she's like, why are my kids always the ones who speak out of turn here? Like, what the hell's going on?
You raise strong, independent women.
What I love, she's like, all right, so be it. Riddick then jokes that they get both Violet and Xaden. Maybe they'll live an hour. And Sawyer's like, I think at least 2. And Imogen's like, shut up with that talk. Anything less than 4
is embarrassing.
Is unacceptable. I was like, their squad's so cool. So they split up Basgiath into grids. And everyone's assigned to the different grids. And they are very big on you stay in your grid. Yeah. Otherwise, it's going to become a crapshoot.
Yeah.
So if you're tracking a wyvern and it goes into someone else's territory, you got to let it go. And you got to expect them to do what they got to do. And you're going to do what you got to do. Violet sees where everyone is posted. And she's like, it's a mistake. And Rhee's like, say it.
Yeah.
Do it. And she's like, it's a mistake to not guard the ward stone. Like, we don't know how much power is left in there. We don't know what's going on. And General Mom's like, 1, the ward stone's broken.
Yeah.
We forgot to mention that. When that happened, it actually broke in half as well.
Yes.
So we don't even know if it could hold power. And she's like, it was picked for a reason. There's a lot of power in the ground there. It's a mistake. And she's like, your opinion's noted. And she's like, you gonna do anything about it? And she's like, no. I said it's noted, but it's wrong. So absolutely not. Cadet. Go to bed. Everyone get some sleep. You're gonna wake up and you're probably gonna die. No. Violet and Xaden, we don't have to go into. I mean, they have a nice conversation that night. They don't sleep, by the way.
Wink, wink.
They are getting packed up, and they are very tempted to just kind of have fun in their own soundproof room. And then Rhee knocks at the door. Total buzzkill. Violet's like, give us 5 minutes. And she's like, absolutely not.
This is awkward.
Get the fuck out here. This is awkward as hell. And then there's another knock, and it's Brennan. And he's like, stop whatever you're doing, disengage all body parts from each other, and open this fucking door.
Awkward.
Violet opens the door. Brennan standing there with Sloane, Aryx there, a bunch of other first years, Kat, all the flyers. And she's like, you came, and he was basically like, we left right after you guys.
Yeah.
But griffins don't fly as fast. I left you and Mira before. I'm never fucking doing that again.
Doing that.
We're here to help. I've been a little annoyed with Brennan. I was very happy with him at this point.
Yes.
Violet goes, sweet, glad you're here. Have you ever met any limitations of what you can mend? He's like, I can't mend magic. And she's like, what about a ward stone? And his eyes are like, I think I could do that. Bet.
Maybe.
Bet. Rhee turns, and at this point, I didn't mention this. General Mom was like, are those flyers?
Yeah.
Are there griffin flyers in Basgiath in the dormitory? But so General Mom was there as well and saw Brennan and is very shocked, right?
He's alive.
He was like, I'm not here for you.
Yeah.
I'm here for them. But Rhee at this point, when Brennan is like, yeah, I think I can mend the ward stone, Rhee turns and is like, grant permission for squad blah, 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 to guard the ward stone. And Mom is like, granted.
So they're getting ready for battle and everything. Rhee had the first years stationed like on the ground, like right with Brennan to get him what he needed and keep him safe.
The first years, right? That's Sloane and Aryx. I do want to point out, I think it's weird that Aryx hasn't manifested a signet at all.
Ooh.
And he's very, like, there's been multiple times where he's like, I don't have a signet yet. I don't know.
You think he might have one?
I don't know.
Well, Violet got her signet late. Because remember, hers didn't manifest until the battle squad, and it hasn't been battle squad yet.
Technically, it did manifest when she kissed Shadow Daddy.
But it wasn't super weird that it hadn't manifested yet when they thought it hadn't manifested.
I think we should talk a little more about
Okay.
Aryx. I think he's going to have a major role in Onyx Storm.
Oh, I hope so.
There's also theories that Xaden isn't endgame. That
And Aryx is?
Aryx might be.
So, not going to lie, I'd love that. Because if, again, I'm a fan of a pretty boy and he's prettier.
I kind of want like Aryx and like Sloane, or something like that.
I could see Aryx and
I
Sloane.
also think Sloane is going to have a major fucking role in the next coming books as well.
Yeah.
Her being a siphon.
Yeah.
Naolan siphon. I don't know. A lot there. Anyways,
So-
totally sidetracked.
So
you.
explain to me why Naolan was so powerful, because he could siphon. Like,
I think
how is that
siphons,
helpful in battle?
It's just rare.
It's just rare.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also saw a theory though that siphoning is stealing someone's power
Yeah.
and like
I've seen
putting
Agatha.
it somewhere else. Yeah. Well, wait.
Yep.
And Darna flew in and refused to leave. She's like, I'm going to be at the battle with you. I'm not staying in the Vale. And Jasinia flew in with Marin and everybody else, and is at the archives comparing Warwick's journal with Lara's journal. And that makes Violet very nervous that she's here. But she was like, we're going to have to figure out what we did wrong, because what if we need to power their wards back up again? So good thing she is there, in all honesty.
So Xaden pulls in Violet and says, I love you. I'll do anything for you. You're my boo.
The world does not exist beyond you.
Yeah.
Who's flowery?
Okay, that's...
Actually, that's more intense.
Yeah.
That's more intense than flowery.
Before battle.
Maybe I like intense. Maybe that's what it is.
I don't know what you like, but it's something.
I don't either. My husband's not intense.
Well, you say this all the time. What you like in real life and what you like in fantasy novels is very different.
True. Yeah, I probably would have kicked Xaden in the nuts, in all honesty.
I would not. No, yeah, I could not handle him.
Yeah.
But, mean, if I was magically drawn to him constantly and we were basically mates, maybe I would.
Reading it's hot. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, so Violet tells him not to die because she doesn't want to live without him.
Yeah.
And then it starts to rain. And Violet smiles in the back of her head because she's like, okay, her mom is imbuing her favorite weapon, which is me, Violet. That. And so it was just like it's easier for her to draw magic. Or draw lightning. It's easier for her to draw her power.
Well, she can use the clouds.
Yeah.
As a conduit.
Again, the plan is stay in your section. And so they're going through, and Violet actually has Tarn tell her mom's dragon, move the clouds so that way she can use the clear conduit for the horde that's coming up on them. And so Violet is like, just wait. She's just waiting for it. And it's very anxiety, how she's writing the story. Yeah. Very anxiety provoking.
Well, isn't Xaden yelling at her?
Yeah. And she's like, I just got to wait one more second. Just give me a second. I've got to time it perfectly. But she absolutely does. And she strikes it, the storm, and the bodies just start falling. But the wyvern immediately adjust and fly under the cloud. Yeah. So she knows that won't work again. So she needs to start figuring out other ways to kill mass amounts because they are very outnumbered. So Violet's plan is she's going to focus on the wyvern that has the rider on its back. So that's where they focus, and again, stay in your section. So they're chasing this guy and she's trying to just take out the rider as they're going.
Then Tarn is counting up at this point how many riders there are and where they're at.
Yeah.
So her next is she talks about focusing with what Felix taught her, right? Yeah. The smaller and more precise strikes, and is able to take out a rider. So a handful more wyvern fall, and then Tarn's grabbing other ones by the neck, and he's able to snap it in one bite, and a wyvern falls, and Violet takes out another wyvern with lightning. She's doing really good and zinging and zagging all over the place. She looks over, sees Riddick and Imogen in battle, and Tarn's you need to focus. So, she sees a couple of other things, too. I think Quinn jumping from one place to another and all this. But she's very focused on everybody else, which she kind of did this in Ressin, too. And this time, Tarn's you need to focus.
This
focus
is our
on
section.
Your mission. Not even the section. They're in her section.
Yeah.
He's you need to focus on your mission and trust them to fucking do their job.
Yeah.
And so she sees, I think at some point, somebody doing something right. And she's like, you're right. Yeah. They got it. But then she looks down. And she sees Sawyer in battle with 3 wyvern against just him. Yeah. And their goal before was they were going to double up.
Yeah.
So they were working in teams and would only go 2-on-1, right? When it came, especially to a Venom, right?
Yeah.
They're focusing on the Venom. So she plummets down there, takes out her conduit, gets one of the wyvern, but the rider is plummeting down to the ground to feed. She can tell. Yeah. So Violet's telling Xaden's on it, so they're
because
they're all.
If the Venom gets to the ground, it's going to draw power and kill everything.
Yeah, and that must have been, they didn't really talk about it. I mean, I'm assuming Violet and Xaden are paired together. That's why she was like talking to him.
Yeah.
But it seems like during this whole battle, he's more on the ground and she's up in the air, obviously, like using the lightning strategically, and everyone else is zinging in between, right?
Yeah. So a dark wielder actually jumps onto Tarn's back and he yells that like for Violet to stay in the saddle, and she's like, I can't, I'm just a sitting duck right now. So she's actually trying to get the saddle, but like the water and stuff,
it's like the leather's like swollen. She
cannot unbuckle it.
The guy, it's very reminiscent of Resson. Kind of what happened too, but he walks up and he had like greasy blonde hair and all of that. I think that's this guy. Yeah, and he's like, you're the one he wants. Everyone keeps saying this, like they all know who she is. It's creeping me out.
Yeah.
But Tarn's like trying to shake the venom, and Violet's like trying to can't get out of the saddle.
And she grabs her dagger and tries to throw it at him, and he catches it. So
he
like,
catches it like shit.
They're faster. They can anticipate. Like I'm not only a sitting duck, but I have zero things. She sees like a flash of green, and Ree actually jumps on and lunges, and he hits her blade away. But she looks at Violet and Violet tells Tarn to like roll on 3.
Yeah.
And so she like looks at Ree, and they're like in community.
But do you remember, like, she didn't even say that. She just goes, Ree.
Yeah.
And she's like, 1. And Ree just flattens down, or 3
exactly.
or something like that.
So then Taryn actually does like a roll to get the dark wielder away.
And Violet has to like grab her ankle.
Yeah, to keep her.
And this is when she shoots the crossbow. Tells Tarn to roll. So she wants to hit the venom, roll his ass off. Like stun him.
Get off here.
Roll him off. That was good. She starts to yell at Ree the exact same way Xaden yells at her.
Oh, yeah.
All the time. I think she used the same words. Like, you, whatever it was. And Ree's just like, you're welcome. And then, like, here's your dagger back. And then she's like, I'll go get your other one. And just jumps off the back and jumps right onto Ferg. Is that how you say her? Ferg?
Farsh? I don't remember.
Really?
It's something like closer to what I said, but none of those are right.
I read Fergie.
Fair.
Every time.
Fair.
Fergie.
Fair.
It's Fergie.
Fair.
Pretty sure it's Fergie. Pretty sure it means whale's vagina.
In the distance, they hear a scream. It's not Seagal. It's not Indarna, because Indarna should still be hiding. Or actually, she should be in the Vale, to be honest. But it's actually Riddick's dragon. And Riddick is stabbing the wyvern over and over again, and he won't budge.
Yeah.
Slidge, which is Sawyer's dragon, slashes the wyvern, and when that doesn't work, he actually bites his neck, but he isn't strong enough to like break his neck. And so the wyvern doesn't change course. There's like this green blast of fire from it. Sawyer like almost doesn't even get away from it. And as Sawyer like kicks a wyvern, it latches onto his leg.
Yeah.
So Violet is like, oh my gosh, we can either save Slidge, which is Sawyer's dragon, because he's not going to fight back if Sawyer's gonna die, right? He's not gonna risk his rider's life.
Well, he's focusing on the wyvern that are attacking him,
yeah,
not the wyvern that are attacking him. You know?
Yeah, exactly. And so either way, like, it's not looking good. And so she does the unthinkable, and Taryn is so mad, but she times it very perfectly, where she actually, and Taryn didn't know that she was doing this before she did it, she actually cut herself loose and jumped on to help Sawyer.
She did a running leap.
Oh yeah, she did.
And then what I loved is, as this is happening, he's like, Silver one! You know, he's pissed. And she's like, how's that for a running landing? And she's like, Riddick's eyes like met her eyes, and he was like, you could tell he was kind of like, holy shit.
Yeah.
As he's like stabbing this wyvern in the nose over and over again, and he's like, I can't get him off. Violet's like, I have a plan, gives him the crossbow, tells him to fire once she's on. She runs up the wyvern, like, it's just like through his eyes, runs down the wyvern's body, jumps, and looks at Slidgy and says, let me help him. Yeah. Which is like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
But she's like hoping the dragon gets it. She kind of runs in to Sawyer as they like slide down and off the dragon and start to fall. And Tarn's like, are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah.
And he's free falling down until Tarn catches them. Xaden's shadows like try and slow down descent a little bit, but she can tell he's like tired. And Tarn yells at her. He's like, "What the hell do you think you're doing?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "You caught me. It's fine." And he's like, "How did you know I was going to catch you?" She's like you wouldn't catch me. Come on.
You would just
I know you're going to catch me.
Yeah, we're good.
And I had to take care of it. Sleege was not going to take care of himself if he had to take care of Sawyer, so I had to take that. You know, I had to.
You're welcome, actually.
No one's dying today. Okay? Okay? He tells her at this point, Brennan's mended the wardstone. It's happened, but he's not super hopeful. No. She's like, "What is that supposed to mean?" He's like, "I don't know. Dragons don't give a lot of details," basically.
So they actually land, and Tarn actually calls for aid. And in her head, she realizes when he's calling, she originally is like, "Oh yeah, get a mender." And she's like, "There's nothing to mend."
Yeah.
He lost his leg. His leg is cut off.
Down, and it is like spurting blood.
Yes. And so, Violet's like shaking him, saying, stay awake. We're making it to graduation. Nobody dies today, because that's, again, their motto this whole time. And Marin actually gets there because all the Griffins are around giving aid, getting it. She looks at Violet and is like, "We'll take care of him. Don't worry."
At this point, Tarn hears Seagull needs help. And Violet's like, "Go."
Yes.
If she needs help. Xaden needs help. Go. Do not let them die. Kat's sitting there, and she like looks at her, and she's like, "You look like shit. But I saw what you did up there. Actually, I didn't see it. My Griffin saw it and told me it was really brave." And Violet's like, "You would have done the same thing." And Kat's like, "No, I would have done it faster. I'm just saying." I think I like her at this point too. She's like, "I'll take care of Sawyer." She gives Violet another dagger. She's like, "I see you're missing one. Here's here's another one, and I'll take care of Sawyer. Don't even think about thanking me." Which to me, she was like, "He's my squad too. So I'm taking care of him. Don't thank me for this." Right away, right after Kat walks away, Tarn's like, "Behind you." She turns around. There's a Venom standing there. She tells Kat to run. And Kat's like, "Shut the fuck up. No, I'm not running." The Dark Wielder is like, kneeling on the ground. And Violet's like, "Stop." Which I kind of find interesting that he actually stopped for a minute. And it could just be a really long thought process, and it wasn't really what was happening. But that's how I read it, that he like actually stopped when she said that. Violet aims her conduit at and a dagger. Kat grabs a dagger. They're like doing their little back-to-back, fighting stance. And the Venom at that point knows who Violet is. Yes. And says, I don't care about her. That one can go, but I'm under orders not to kill you. Again, this like keeps fucking coming up. Violet wants to know, what does she mean by that? What does she mean? And she can tell Kat's doing some mind work, like making the greed. It's like, "And I will be the best Venom ever, and I will move up in ranks." So
it's making the villain monologue more like a speech.
Oh yeah, I saw like a ha 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 ha, and Kat's like, "Kill him at any moment here. Yeah. Like, can you like make something happen here?" Violet's like, "I want to know what she freaking means." Just then, another Venom walks up and is like, "Win, knock it off." Lands, pushes Kat away at this time. Violet finally releases lightning, hitting Win, right? The Venom. And the conduit like flares out.
I think it's super interesting that now we know the names of these Venom.
Well, that was only because that guy said it.
I know, but
they're becoming more human.
Like they're people.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's foreshadowing, people. Because there's even more to come. Just wait. There's more. The conduit flares out. Taryn is now like, okay, I forget how long out. He was like 3 minutes out or whatever, but stay calm. And Xaden's like, "I'm on my way. Like, help is on the way, dear." But they're not going to make it in time. The Venom's way too close. She doesn't have a dragon. She doesn't have her conduit. She can't pull lightning down because there's too many layers of dragons in between. Violet sees this shape move behind the Dark Wielder, and she's like, "Is that boulder moving?" And it's like, no, it's a boulder with golden eyes. Springs forward, changes color, and Darna lands on top of him, breathes fire down, charring him, and then rips his fucking head off, and then spits the charred head out.
Yeah, you can be a sassy teenager if that's how you save me.
I mean, that's pretty badass. Obvious camouflage powers going on here, because the way she described it is like it was a boulder that then changed, reflected, and she's like, "I told you I could hide. He told me to hide, And it did. And she's like, you can breathe fire. And she's like, I can breathe fire. At this point, Tarn is like, Melgren orders you guys to the Vale. Yeah. Not everyone. Just Xaden and Violet at this point.
I wanted to just be like, Melgren, I don't work for you.
I know.
That's like your old boss calling you and being like, I demand you come into work at 9 a.m. tomorrow.
Which I will say, like, wasn't Xaden kind of like, let's go start this fight that we have to start? Like, they're just going to basically say, no, we're not doing that.
Can I pause real here?
Yes.
So do you mind if you're going, and if it's something I remember, I just jump in and start talking?
Not at all. Yeah.
How about this? This is our strategy. Okay. I'll just talk until I just look at you like this.
Okay. I literally just read this like today too, so it's super fresh. Yeah. So I could literally do any of these parts or not do other ones.
Okay.
So just do that.
But yes, I'm pretty much.
Or do you want me just to go until like, because last time you're like, right? And I'm like, no. Well, yes, but not yet. Yeah. So I'll just go until I'm like, Marissa, no.
Shut up. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
It's good, but not.
But that's not accurate.
There's a lot of moving pieces right now.
Fake news happens.
True.
Somebody gets high and writes a newspaper.
It's very possible, in all honesty.
Okay, so Indarna saves us. Jacinia comes running up, like waving her down, like, I figured it out. I figured it out.
Okay, but before you do this, I'm sorry. This was so funny because, like, they're walking through and all these people are injured, and this infantry guy's like, they could at least close the damn gates. And Xaden's like, that's not going to save you. Look at the roof, you dumbass, like, basically. And Violet was like, you could be like, and he's like, what, nicer? That's not saving them. And another infantry person was like, hey. And she's like, he's right. It's not going to save you. She's like, no. There's a scribe that's like, like flagging you down or something.
Yeah.
I just thought that was a really funny interaction.
No, that is very hilarious. So Jacinia is like, so I know that your mom said Lyra was all about, helping everybody, having everybody have the knowledge, but I think she was the one that was lying. Mm-hmm. Because in hers, remember Warwick said, and the 6 strongest and the one make an iron flame or whatever the thing is.
Yeah.
She's like, Lyra says, and the 7 combined. She's like, that can't be right because there's only 6 dens. We know black, which is Terran, right? Mm-hmm. Terran and Indarna and Coda. We know blue, who is Seagal. Do we know any other blues?
Yeah, our Arix is blue.
We've got green. We've got orange, which orange is associated with a lot of bad guys. Because
Imogen has orange though too.
That's true.
But yeah, there are a lot of not so good orange dragons.
Yeah. And then red and brown. So that's 6.
Yes.
And so Jacinia points to the symbols and the runes around the wards.
Yeah, there's 7 things around there. The one thing I thought was really cool that because Violet's just like, that can't be right. That can't be right.
Yeah.
And she goes, no, look, points to the front of the journal of the first 6, points to the 6, then goes back and goes, that's a 7.
Yeah.
That's a 6. It's close, but that's a 7.
But that's a 7.
Yeah. And that's when Violet's like,
ding, ding, ding.
Oh, holy shit.
She figured it out, but nobody else knows what she's thinking.
No. So even us, which we're usually, that's very interesting in this whole part. Haven't you noticed that?
Yeah.
That she has an ephany and we don't even know as the readers what's going on until everyone else knows because her mind, usually we're in her inner thoughts.
Yeah.
Is she shielding us out? That bitch. Violet basically just walks up and Xaden's already, after meeting with Jacinia and is thinking, and Xaden's already like, we are not going there.
Yeah.
Right? So Melgreen, General Mom, Xaden is like, Tarn and Seagal will not be defending the hatching grounds. And Melgreen's like doing his little pissy shit. He's like, it's your fault. You're the reason I didn't even see this outcome. And Xaden's like, you're welcome.
No, it's actually your fault because your dragon killed the parents, which made us.
If you would have dealt with this.
Exactly.
That many years, 6 years ago, whatever. Yeah. Maybe we wouldn't be here today, Mel Green. But Xaden's like, you're welcome for flying here. You guys would all be dead. You'd all be fucking dead. You could tell, I think I could tell. I thought Xaden was very obviously reading Melgreen's intentions or reading somebody in the area because he starts drilling them on their...
Oh my God, I completely forgot when I
Yeah.
read this section of the book that he has that power.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Tell this
now,
story.
Now every time he kind of flips like that
Yeah.
and just starts talking, I'm like, oh, he used it just now.
Yeah.
Or it was thrown at him, you know, who knows?
Well, and just to let you know,
because he does that a lot.
I'm rereading the first book right now.
Yeah.
Because
so now you're going to pick up on a bunch of shit.
You hear all the time in the book, and then there's this, I feel something
my mind tingling.
Yes.
My
there's
mind
a tingling in my skull. Yes. And it's like, oh shit, Xaden's there.
And that was also all at the very beginning.
Yeah, at the very beginning.
She doesn't really say that anymore. Like, she feels his presence.
Yes.
She feels his shadows.
Yes.
After that. But the mind tingling is him fucking doing that.
And she hasn't had a mind tingle in a while.
Yeah. Okay. So anyways, also when he, once you know he's not doing it to her anymore, that's also why I believed him when he said I never did it after whatever. Anytime he switches what he's saying very quickly and is spot on, I'm like, oh, he's using it. Yeah. And right away, he just starts drilling them on their strategy and exposes that they basically plan, like, why do you want us at the Vale?
Yeah.
Why not send every cadet to the Vale? Yeah. Oh, because you need a diversion. You need to slow them down so that you can abandon everyone.
Of course.
And prepare to leave. Violet tells them they can't do that. Brennan's mended the ward stone, and she knows how to raise the wards. And General Mom is very brushing her off quite a bit. As this is all going on, Tarn's in Violet's head saying their leader has arrived, meaning the sage.
Yeah.
What they think is the sage, right? Mom's like, it's too late. Violet's like, for once in your fucking life, she doesn't say fucking, but for once in your life, have faith in me. Trust me. I can get the wards up. I can raise the wards. If I raise the wards, every wyvern out there dies. Every venom is nearly powerless. She actually says powerless and then thinks of Jack and goes, nearly powerless. Go with me. Help me imbue the stone. Help me do this. Melgreen tries to counter and Mom's like, wait, this is my school.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's my army. And Xaden's like, half of it's my army, bitch.
Yeah.
It's actually not all your army.
Report to you.
Melgreen's kind of like, they're right there. What's going to we have to da-da-da. And he's like, nothing's going to happen. They're waiting. He's like, they're waiting. And they're like, waiting for what? And he's like, waiting for me. And he tells her, I'm going to buy you time. You get the wardstone working again.
So she walks up and addresses Coda, which is Melgreen's dragon, who is the biggest dragon and is also technically and politically Taryn's den father or elder. Den elder?
Yeah, he's older and he's bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's the leader of the den.
Of two.
Oh, okay.
Remember, they're super rare.
Yeah, they're super rare.
Yeah.
But two were just hatched. We found out.
You're right, though. Yes.
Okay. So she looks directly at Coda and she says, like, you know the secret. You've known all along.
The whole time Xaden's going, holy hell.
Yeah,
holy shit. Because you got to remember, she's looking at a bigger dragon than her biggest dragon.
Yeah. Taryn wouldn't even do this.
The general's dragon.
Yes. Yeah. And she says, you didn't tell anybody, you jerk.
I know you know.
Yes. And I expect you to be there to help pull up the warts. And in the background, she's hearing like, no, just use Andarna. She can breathe fire now. She looks at Xaden. She's like, I'm only able to do one. So I can either save Bezgaeth and put up their wards, or I can save Arisha and fix their wards. Yeah. And he just kind of looks back and forth and is just like, I mean, you're here. I just care about where you are and that you're safe. I don't care about anything else. And you're here. So yes, this is where it should, like, safe here. Mm-hmm. And she's like, okay. And she runs and into the area with the wardstone.
She runs to the wardstone, and as she's running, that's when she looks to Melgreen and says what Kat told her.
Okay. Insert future Marisa.
No, future Marisa. This is what happened. Marisa, present Marisa, Lil Stone. Let me tell you. So what happened was, Kat said, let us fly, like, cut the storm, let us fly. If not, let us be fucking infantry. Like, we know how to fight the venom. Let us do that. Don't just shuttle people. Yeah. So as she's running to the wardstone, she turns to Melgreen and is like, let the flyers want to fight. Let them. And tells her mom to cut the storm so they can fly. And then she runs as fast as she fucking can to the wardstone, sees Brennan there with Eric like holding him up like he's cashed. He's very cashed.
Yeah.
And then starts imbuing it.
Yeah.
Imbue.
Okay. Change of strategy. You just talk and I'll just react.
We're at the end. That's a good strategy.
I'm so sorry.
And I just read it, so it's like very, very vivid.
Yeah.
Okay. So
see, I would have like dramatically.
Well, that's what happens when you have to like remember it. So as she starts imbuing the wardstone, she's like, and Darna, get down here. And Darna's like, I don't really do pits. And she's like, get down here now. Another time where she like tells a dragon what to do.
She's telling everybody what to do. She's telling Tarn what to do.
She's the only one who knows what the fuck's going on right now.
She told 2 generals, one of which is her mother, what to do just now.
True story, man. Violet.
Violet, all right, for president.
So Violet starts to piece together that Andarna's part of her own den.
Yeah.
She keeps asking these questions, and Andarna's not telling her all out until it's like, and Andarna at one point is like, say it.
Yeah.
You have to say it. And she's like, you're a part of your own den. She's like, yes.
Yeah.
And that's why the Imperium allowed a juvenile to bond to begin with.
Because they couldn't.
It's all making
They didn't
sense.
have a say.
They didn't have a say. She's the leader of her own den.
Yeah, she's one of the elders. And so now looking back at all of these times where she's like, they're like, oh, she's working with the elders.
Yep.
That's just elder meetings. She's just attending her meeting.
So that means Coda knew. So when she was saying before, like you said, you know,
yeah,
she had already, this is again, we as readers didn't know, but she was piecing it together, and Coda's like, yeah, basically, I didn't know.
She's actually saying, like, I heard about you. I've been waiting over 600 years for you.
650.
Yes. And she heard about the daughter of a general who is a writer, but has the mind of a scribe. And she's like, this person's going to figure it out. I've been waiting through all these dummies, these 600 years.
She totally did a teenager move, teenage daughter, where she said, I heard the elders talk of the general's weakling daughter. A girl with the heart of a writer, but the head of a scribe. So all in all, it's a compliment.
Yeah.
But there's a zing in there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, of course there is.
So she is the 7th breed.
She is.
Lyra was not the liar.
Yeah.
Warwick still.
And
liar.
now I'm thinking through all of these different things, and I'm like, okay, maybe her sleep being long, is it weird? Maybe it's just because she's a different breed. Maybe. So I'm like kind of like hopeful in the back of my head that she's
rereading it right now is going to be good for you to kind of pick apart more things
of that,
because you're going to pick apart different things than I did, you know. Yeah. Meanwhile, Violet is still like imbuing the stone, and it's hard. I mean, remember it took 3 of them months to do it in Orisha, right? Yeah. As this is happening, Tarn, she's like trying to reach out to see if everyone's okay. Tarn lets Violet see Xaden, like Andarna did, to see the relic on her back. And she sees Xaden fighting the sage. She can, like, he's blocking everything. She sees a flash of this. A lot of shit's going on. Yeah. Right?
Well, and so it's just making her say, I need to do this faster. I need to do this faster. I need to save everyone.
She's realizing, too, if she's going to imbue the wardstone in time, it's probably going to cost her life because there's no way she can get that amount of power.
She's okay with it. She's okay with that.
She just tells them both, you have to live. You have to choose to live. So this whole, if I die, you're going to die, I'm the last rider, you have to live. And he tells her, you are not just you're my last. Like when you fall, I fall. That's what happens. She's like collapsing. You can hear Brennan. Mom runs in there. They're both trying to help her. Tarn and Andarna are telling her stop. Everyone is begging for her to stop because she is burning out. Her skin is on fire.
Yes.
We're hearing it from Violet's point of view. So it's all very like, you can tell she's dying, right? You hear Mom yelling, what's your signet? What's your signet? What's your signet? Eric's like, I don't have one yet. And ask them out there. Da 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 da.
Yeah.
And she just sees her mom with her boot up to her shoulder. And she said it was gentle. And then she kicked her very strongly away. So you can tell she just like pushed her in a like nice way with her foot. Like even the way Violet was explaining it was like a nice way. Violet sees her dragging Sloane up to the stone.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, you can't do it. Everyone's like yelling. She tells them that this is the only way to imbue the worn stone quickly. She then starts to like, because Sloane's like, I don't want to do it.
No,
I don't want to do
I'm
it.
not doing
so
it.
she starts to be like, I am the one who killed your mom. I
Yeah.
tracked her down. I hauled her here. I executed her. I made you and your brother watch. You
All
remember
the bad
that?
stuff in your life,
Yeah.
I did it. Me here.
I could have, I could have stopped your brother's death too. If I would have paid more attention to what my assistant was doing, I could have stopped it too. She's like, it's my fault.
Negligence isn't.
Yeah. Violet's
homicide.
like screaming for Brennan, and she's
Yeah.
like, get her to stop. And Brennan's like, I choose you. I choose your life.
And Darna says, I choose you.
Yeah.
Taryn says, I choose you.
Violet's pleading with Sloane not to
Xaden
do it.
is too busy fighting for his life, so he wasn't paying attention, or he would choose her.
No,
too.
she reached at one point. He had blocked her completely out too.
Yeah.
So some shit's
He's
going
focusing.
on there. Yeah. Violet's like pleading with Sloane to not do it. And her mom's like, your friends, you hear that? Your friends, they are out there dying. You can stop it right now. You can do it right now. And she's like, your signet will just take over. Just like put her hand on her and put her hand there. And then she starts to power the stone. See, this is like, I was bawling. I'm not going to lie.
Question, when you read it the second time, did you bawl?
Yes.
Again?
Yes.
You knew it was coming.
Not bawl. I mean, that's a little dramatic. My eyes got teary-eyed, and I had to look up because I have fake lashes, and I don't want to, like, cry them off. Like, come on. It's not
Cry
that
within
serious.
reason, Marissa.
Duh. When I say bawling, I mean my eyes got watery. Okay? For me, that's like bawling.
That
that's
is
a lot.
actually bawling for you.
Violet's mom is just like, it's okay. As soon as my power, which they did explain it, that it was her life force and her dragons. Does that mean her dragon died?
Yeah.
That's how I read it.
I don't know.
We'll have to see.
Yeah.
She's like, as soon as our power is in the stone, raise the wards. I would do anything to keep you safe. Yeah. All of you, I would do anything to keep you safe. She's like, you are everything I dreamed you would be, all three of you, and I get to see your father soon.
Yeah.
And she just collapses. They say she's ashen. There's no heartbeat. They fire the stone, and it was all because of her mom. It's a little more dramatic than that. Like, they're like carrying her mom out, and Darna kind of closes it. She feels the heat, and she turns around and she sees it's on fire.
Yeah.
The wards are up.
And then all of a sudden, since the wards are up, you just hear a plop, plop, plop outside. And that's just Wyvern just landing because
I can't wait
they
to
all
see
died.
this in video form.
It's going to be awesome.
No, I think what sucks, is we're going to be like, oh, the book was better.
We probably will. Actually, our podcast of the book was better.
Of course. All right. So at this point, obviously, very upset. What I didn't say was they rushed directly to mom, and Mira came running in.
Yeah.
And was like, what did you do? What did you do? What did you do?
Well, and Sloane is like devastated.
Sloane is devastated.
Killed the general.
Brennan is very devastated.
Yeah.
I think Brennan
Which
was
is surprising.
having...
He was, yeah.
Well, he
didn't get to have his handshake.
Us oldest hold a lot more resentment sometimes. And then there's like, I think he was like, you kind of always think you'll be able to solve it.
Yeah.
And then now you can't. Right?
Yeah.
Mira was more said exactly how she felt, but moved through things quickly because I think she was a lot like their mom.
Yeah.
And Violet was the sweet, Violet got it and understood it. So at this point, they've walked out, and Darna breaks in and tells her that Xaden needs her. And then Violet turns and tells Tarn and Andarna, you two need to work your shit out. You two need to talk right now. Because Andarna told Violet that Tarn doesn't know.
Yeah.
At all. Because at the beginning, we didn't mention this. She was like, but your scales aren't black, are they? And she's like, no. And she's like, but I just so much want to be just like him.
Yes, that's so cute.
Oh, and she's bringing so much attitude. Maybe that's how your daughter really feels. She just so badly wants to be you.
No.
Probably
She's
not.
already in the stage of my parents are idiots. Most people hit that stage from like 16 to 26, I feel like.
Maybe.
My
They're
daughter,
growing up faster.
No, she hit it at like 6 months. We've all been idiots her whole life.
This is more her personality. She is just always been very confident.
Yes.
I, too, have been someone who was confident out of the womb. Look how it worked out for me. I'm amazing. I'm amazing. Ree runs up at this point and is like, "It was so cool. Wyvern just started falling out of the sky. You got the wards up, didn't you?" she can tell instantly that something's obviously wrong. And she's like, my mom, the stone, it's her. And Ree's like, oh my God, I'm just so sorry. I'm so sorry. And gives her a hug. Violet walks towards Seagal because Xaden's on the other side of her.
Mm-hmm.
Seagal, I thought, which I would love to hear the audio version of this, that because she was like, you fought well. And she's like, you did too. And she's like, I'm expected to.
Of course I did.
And then as she walks...
Silly human.
Yeah. As she walks there, Seagal tells her, choose your words wisely with him. Xaden's sitting on the ledge. Like that kind of... I feel like on the other side where it's the same valley that they walk over the parapet for. Right? And he's just dangling like he always does. And he tells her he killed the sage. He's like, I saw his body fall in the ravine, and I'm just like sitting here waiting for it to pop back up again, but I know it's like miles downstream at this point.
Yeah.
She tells him her mom died. He's like, I'm sorry. Mel Green wants them to come back to she kind of heard him talking, wants them all to come back because now there's no way they're going to be able to hide this from the citizens of Navarre at this point. Xaden's like, that's probably good. It'll be safer for you here. You won't be as scared behind the wards. And she's like, why should I be scared? And he's like, do you love me? And she's like, you know I love you. Why am I supposed to be scared? What do I not know? And he said, he looks up at her and she sees red rings around his eyes and he says, me.
Oh,
Throw your fucking book through the window. What?
Yes.
Xaden is Venom. Xaden is Venom.
He's Venom.
I can't fucking believe it. So, the last chapter of the book that we get is from Xaden's point of view. She did this in Fourth Wing too, didn't she?
So, yes. And yeah, so I listened to this and I actually didn't realize that the, frankly, end of the book was Xaden turned around. So I read
thought it was
through.
The audio. Yeah.
It's actually listed as chapter, 66 or whatever it is.
Yeah. So what it does is plays out part of the fight with essentially the sage. What I found interesting is Xaden's describing it from his point of view in this interaction, and he says a couple of very interesting things, right? They're blocking, they're fighting. This is what Violet kind of saw for a minute during the Wardstone. He does say that the sage is blocking what he's doing just like his fucking nightmares. So I didn't know he had nightmares.
No, nobody did.
Just like Violet does.
Yeah.
And they sound like they're very similar.
Yeah, where the sage is real.
And badgering
Maybe that's
him.
the sage's power.
Well, this is what gets me thinking.
But the sage is dead.
Because we thought, we don't know. In the ravine, why would throwing him in the ravine kill him?
Well, I don't think
that was my first thought.
What killed him.
Oh.
I think he fell into the ravine after he was killed.
Either way, we don't get to see in this chapter either. We always thought the interactions with the sage with Violet weren't really nightmares, weren't really dreams. They seemed like real interactions. This is the same thing. The sage is like, you strike, I block, you throw, I dodge. And he sighs. Like same thing. He was seeking Xaden. And Xaden said, they're waiting for me. So Xaden feels like they're coming, but they're coming in her dreams too.
Yeah.
So
coming
interesting.
For both of them.
Interesting. He also says, like, he's describing the sweat dripping down his neck and reminds him of this and that. He makes a comment that when we brought up his mom earlier, I wanted to come back to. What is it about me that fails the females in my life? Very small comment. Doesn't talk about it again. What females are in his life?
Well, his mom.
And Violet and Seagal. Literally the only females in his life.
Yeah.
Okay? He's talking about wanting to do this because he doesn't want to fail Violet stuff, but the females, I think there's more with his mom that we don't know. And how does he feel?
Know more about his mom.
Yeah. How does he feel like he failed her? What happened there? What's the backstory there? Another interesting revelation in his interpretation of this event is he says, because you're a sage, as they're like jawing back and forth, the sage laughs and says, I'm a general, not a sage. It's not just an academy. It's an entire army. It's a whole community is what I have. It's them as Venom.
Yeah.
Who essentially are more powerful than them.
Yeah.
With the whole same setup. Remember, they were surprised about the sage. That there was a teacher before. That was new. And that was different. Then
it just proves we know nothing about Venom.
Yes. Which we've been saying this whole time. There's these little snippets that lead us to believe we don't know shit. Which again makes me very excited for Onyx Storm. Again, what I found interesting is we're in the middle of this, and then he's just like next to Violet, that night in bed.
Yeah.
Gets up, goes down to the brig to talk to Jack Barlow. Because they did capture Jack Barlow. And at first, Jack Barlow's I don't know if Jack Barlow doesn't know or is just playing with him. But he's like, oh, you here to give me my serum? I'm not due for 2 hours. Da, 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 da. You know, Xaden's like, where's the cure? What do I need to do? I know there's something. And he's like, cures are for diseases. What we have is power. And that, or isn't curable, is inevitable. Very mwahaha. But he says there's no cure. You can never give back what you've taken. You only hunger for more. It's kind of like a vampire.
I thought zombie.
Yeah, but they're not brainless.
You telling me that guy is smart? No, I'm just kidding.
So we obviously know from this chapter that the plot of Onyx Storm is going to be around this in one way, shape, or form, right? It's going to be about Xaden being Venom and what happens. And it sounds like there's It sounds like there's like a hunger that never goes away. And we already know there's the different levels of Venom. I saw another excerpt that we read from, I think it was Cosmopolitan or something like that, where Xaden, it only happens, you only advance more if you pull more.
Yeah.
So I think he's thinking he's going to be able to like withstand it.
Yeah. But the hunger grows.
This was my favorite book until the very fucking end.
I know. I loved it. I loved every second until he turned around.
But it also makes me know that I'm going to go through an emotional roller coaster, but Onyx Storm is going to be really, really good. Because we've been saying this whole time that there's just so much we don't know. We don't know shit about the Venom. We don't know shit about the Venom. So I think we're going to find a whole new area when it comes to Onyx Storm. I also saw a video that said Rebecca Yarros said she's writing in the W format. So Fourth Wing ends on a high. Brennan's alive. And there's a revolution. Low for...
Okay, so Onyx Storm will be a high.
Onyx Storm should be a high. Xaden's Venom, that's a low. High. Low. High.
Okay, so I'll only read every other book.
No, I like it. I think it'll work. It's gonna work.
This is like affected me for days. I've been mad at the world because Xaden turned Venom.
Yeah, I feel like you should plan your reads like mine, where you read it and then reread it right before.
Yeah.
Mostly because of the way Rebecca Yarros writes, maybe.
Okay.
It's big cliffhangers, man. It's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
So even like this, even if Onyx Storm ends on a high, now I still got to wait a fucking year.
Yeah.
To find out what happens.
You do. But a year on a high or a year on a low?
At least we didn't have to do the year on the low.
Yeah. But the next one we will.
Ooh.
Can you write faster?
We'll read like other emotionally damaging worlds and things like that.
Perfect. What is one thing that you hope is knowledge you gain in Onyx Storm?
Knowledge I gain?
Like, what's a question mark that you want to know all about in Onyx Storm?
What do I want to know? Like to put pieces of a puzzle together that I have going or something like that. I mean, I think Violet's second signet is a big deal. Because I think it's going to be pivotal.
Yeah.
I also think Arik has a much larger play.
Agreed.
So, like, what his signet is, I think is going to be important. Not to mention, like, the royal factor in there.
Which the king is not a writer.
No, he is not. He is not a writer. Also, did you notice General Mom, when she saw him at the Wardstone, she was like, oh, nice to see you, Cam. Your dad's been worried about you. So that's another thing. Is he going to start going by Cam?
She runs the college. How does she not know that he was there?
Because he has a different name. She doesn't concern herself with first-year writers.
Oh, fair.
Remember there was one time where he was around her and General Melgreen, and he, like, dipped his eyes and his hair was cut shorter.
Yeah.
I think they came into Battle Brief or something like that. And Violet made a comment that as long as he, like, hides like that, there's only a couple of the professors that would really even know. Yeah. I don't know.
I want to know about the Venom world.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And I want to know about the history that was all wrong.
I want to know why they know who Violet is. There's a lot going on there. And we don't know enough to even put pieces together yet, I don't think.
No, we don't.
But I do think we're going to find out more. Because in that excerpt from Cosmopolitan, there were more Venin inside Basgiath.
Yeah.
And they're not entirely powerless, right? So I think there's going to be more of a development there, too.
Oh, boy. I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun.
I know, right? Okay. Thank you for talking High Tales with your favorite lit sisters. We have gone completely through Fourth Wing, completely through Iron Flame, and then we are going to do Onyx Storm a little bit differently. And I'm just going to tell them this, and then we'll close it up for today. So for Onyx Storm, we're gonna read the book ahead of time, but we are going to listen together and record all the episodes in the same weekend.
Yes,
I'm excited. I think it's going to be interesting. It's our semi-live High Tales with the Lit Sisters.
Well, I mean, to be honest, it's also our partial excuse to get a vacation.
That
we are going to lock ourselves away and not have to do anything but hang out.
Yes.
And read books.
And talk and not be interrupted by husbands who like have to get dinner together and stuff like that. We're just not here.
No.
So I don't even
gone.
know. I don't even care if you eat. I don't even care if you eat the whole time we're gone.
Do whatever you want.
Do whatever you want. Also, it's us trying to figure out how to do these on the schedule we have because it's a little rough.
Yeah. Well, because
it's a little jammed, so we're gonna do them all in one weekend.
It's our
when you have like kids and lives and jobs. So annoying. It takes a minute.
Life.
All right, you guys.
Why does life keep getting in the way of my hobbies?
I know, right? So annoying. All right, you guys will follow us wherever you are listening to us right now, please, and thank you. And thank you for talking High Tales with your favorite lit sisters. Bye.
Bye.